Welcome to the Bob and Tam Show today. We got something special. We're already getting started with the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally.
Here we go.
Let's get to it. Today we're going to go over some of the things. We get a lot of the same questions we see on Facebook, on people that send us emails, things like that. And we're going to go over probably about 5 or 6 items that if you're thinking about going to Sturgis, this is some of the things you need to think about. The number one thing that everybody always asks is, where should I stay? And that's a big question because it depends on what you want to do. We'll start off with the first. If you're more interested in being in Sturgis, if you're wanting to go to like the Buffalo Chip, or you're wanting to go out to Full Throttle Saloon, or the Iron Horse, or Loud America, anything downtown, and you're looking to maybe more of your time's going to be in that area, you need to stay as close as possible to that area. Now, there's a lot of things that, when you got to start thinking about it, Sturgis itself isn't that big. There's a handful of hotels there. We have quite a few campgrounds in the area. We probably have got I'd say 20 campgrounds within about a 5-mile, 10-mile area that you can find. Everything from going way out to the Buffalo Chip or going out to Full Throttle Saloon, out to Pappy Hoyle. We stay at Kathmandu. There's a Sturgis RV park. There's Susie's Campground. There's No Name Campground. That's just a few. Also, right down at the end of the street is
Stays in.
That's right. It's right there. Kickstands is just one exit away, just right down there, just past Kathmandu area there. So there's a lot of campgrounds right in that general area that you can stay. There's a lot of people renting rooms out. There's also a lot of front yards. One of the questions that a lot of people ask when they're talking about coming into town, do I need to call reservations for a tent rental? We're going to talk about that a little bit more down at the bottom, but there's plenty of yards, a lot of campgrounds. They'll never turn away a tent camper. That's not going to happen anywhere you want to go. So if you're looking at the last minute, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're looking to do maybe more, hey, we want to go, just like in our case, we spend the first 2.5 weeks, we spend it out in Rapid City. Why is that? It is 25 miles away from Sturgis. So, but what's out that way? Some of the things that's out that way are...
There's Mount Rushmore, there's Crazy Horse, there's all the different rides you can go on, there's Iron Mountain, there's Needles Highway, there's a lot of stuff to do out in the Rapid City area. So we go out there first, do all of that, and then that way we don't have to keep traveling back and forth.
Also, you're 25 miles closer to the Badlands. A lot of people like to go out there. They want to go out and see Wall's Drugs. You want to go out to Custard and do the tour out there to see the bisons and the donkeys and all the stuff out there. There's also the cool town of Custard to check out. There's also, what's a couple other towns that's right out there?
There's Hill City and Keystone. There are a couple of cool towns you need to go to check it out. They have all kinds of family fun activities. There's, in Keystone, they have helicopter rides. They have like an amusement park where you can ride a roller coaster down a mountain, like laying on your back, and all kinds of fun stuff to do out in that area.
Now, if you might want to go the other way, we have some people that want to stay more in Deadwood. Why would you want to stay in Deadwood?
Deadwood has the casinos that you can be down there. There's a lot of historic towns. Deadwood is a historic town that you can go down there and you can find all kinds of neat things to do, see the casinos, see all the... You can go up to the cemetery up there. If you wanted to see a really cool place that makes Indian parts for older Indian motorcycles, there's a place down there you can stop and see that too.
So there's all kinds of cool places. There's the
gold mine out there too.
Yep, there's the where they shot
Wild Bill
Saloon
number 10.
Yep, that's right down there. There's actually 2 there. There's one that's more for show, but the other one's actually farther down the street, about 3 blocks. You have to watch a lot of our videos, and we'll cover a lot of this as we get to Sturgis early. So that kind of gives you an idea. You can even stay out in Spearfish. Spearfish is about 20 miles from Sturgis, so it's a little closer than going to Rapid City. There's another little town before that you can stay, so you can kind of stay in that area. A lot of the different little towns, some people, one of our friends stays all the way out in Custer. They like to stay out there at a campground that's out there. But she doesn't do a lot of partying. She doesn't do a lot of coming into Sturgis at night. That's the number one thing that we need to tell you about. If you're going to be on your motorcycle, there is a lot of wildlife. A lot of it. A lot of the accidents that happen and deaths that happen out there can be caused from hitting an animal. A lot of deers out there.
Or trying to avoid an animal.
Yes. So there's a lot of that, and that's one of the reasons I don't like to drive at night on my bike, just because of that reason. So that's one of the things you need to think about first. Where do I want to stay? So the next thing we're going to talk about is the second question that people always ask. When should I go? You know, and that's up to you when you want to go. But let me tell you a little bit about what we did when we used to ride the bike out there when we first started, about 15, 20 years ago when we first started going to Sturgis. We used to get there on the Thursday before the rally. We left the Thursday of the rally. First off, I want to let you know the very first weekend of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, and this is a question a lot of people ask about all rallies, which is the best weekend to go to? Sturgis, it is the first weekend of the rally, which will be the first, the second, and the third, is going to be the biggest this year. It always is. The biggest bands are there, the biggest names, all that kind of stuff. That the most
people.
Yep, is going to show up then. As the week goes on, it's going to mellow out, but what ends up happening on the last couple of days, we call it more of a local day. You see a lot more cars, you see a lot more younger people that are walking. People that don't really even own motorcycles are coming into Sturgis during that last weekend. So just that's one thing to think about. What I highly recommend now people to come is, first of all, you have to decide how many days are you going to come. If you're going to come 2 or 3 days, you need to watch a video that we'll have up here soon to talk about 2 or 3 days, which we're not going to talk about that today. I always tell people, if you're not going to spend you almost like we used to do. We spent a full week there. Got there on Thursday, left on Thursday. And that, we still never got to cover everything. This year we'll be there like we were last year, 8 full weeks. And we do something every single day, and we still don't get everything done and everything covered in the rallies that we cover here at the Sturgis. So one of the things that I recommend is the earlier you can come that first week, because the weekend before, I think it's the 25th, is Black Hills Harley starts their pre-rally. And what they do is they have about 60 to 70% of their vendors are open. So a lot of the big names are there if you're thinking about getting something for your bike, looking around, things like that. And the traffic's not so bad. Like us, I like to ride the Black Hills on, Monday and Tuesday. Seems to be the best days to get out there and do some riding on Iron Mountain and Needles Highway, Spearfish Canyon. A lot of that you do a lot better on the first part of the week because, one, South Dakota is a very big tourist area. So besides us being there, motorcycle people, there's also cars that are out there in the Black Hills. Campers, there's U-Haul trucks running around, people are moving, things like that. So you do see a lot of other traffic that's coming through. So that's my recommendation, is the sooner you can get there, the better off you are. One of the things I want to let you know is when we arrived at Sturgis in June, here we're looking about June 10th, all the bars downtown are open. And a lot of them have entertainment. Some of them, like the Loud American last year, was pretty much every Sunday. They had a big name band. They did charge. There was like a $10 or $12 or $15. But I mean, you could sit on the street or sit over at One Eye Jack's and you could hear the band.
Hear it.
So if you wanted to be up close, you could get, they have it on the tent next to it. So that happens. Also, some of the other bands, they'll have some other entertainment and stuff going on. Stuff like the Iron Horse, they're not going to have anything going on. But there is a lot of events that happen before the Sturgis Rally starts. One is Deadwood has a giant rodeo. It's a great weekend to be involved. They have a parade. It's all kinds of stuff. It's really cool to see. Another thing that happens in Deadwood is the three-wheel rally. That goes on a couple weeks before. I think that's like the second week of July. This year, we are actually having, I think it's like the third weekend of July, we're going to have the Trans Am show rally going on inside Sturgis. So that's another thing that's going to be happening before. So there's just a lot of cool things. Also, what else they having at the Buffalo, Chip?
They have the Get It On Adventure Fest bike week there.
Yep.
And they're also going to have an ATV rally.
Yep, that's going to start. I think that starts on the first weekend. There's going to be some races and stuff. We'll get you some more information on that as it gets closer. So that's the point that I was trying to say, is there's really not a bad time to come. Now, if you're looking to do concerts, which we're going to talk about in a little bit about that, but that's another thing we'll talk about here, and we'll get into that in a minute. But that's some of the things you want to think about. When should I go? So that's what I always recommend. If you want to see the excitement, at least stay for the first weekend. Leave Monday or Tuesday and you really haven't missed anything unless there's a concert going on. The Buffalo Chip over the last couple of years have been pushing their better concerts on in the middle of the week. They've been trying to get people to stay longer. So depending on the concerts you might want to see, there you might want to think about that. So when you're thinking about the bands and the concerts, pretty much once the rally starts, which is either Friday night, August 1st, pretty much all the bars downtown are going to have some kind of entertainment all night long. Talking about in town, which is Loud American, across the street is One Eye Jack's. The other one over there is
The Knuckle
Saloon, and we also have
Iron Horse.
That's right. So all those bars pretty much don't charge you a dime to come in and watch the concerts. Now, they pretty much all have VIP sections you can sit in where you can get in and out easier.
And that always costs.
Some of them have where they have waitresses that are going to sell you, you can get your beer easier. You don't have to stand in line. So there's a lot of advantages of having a VIP pass. Now, that doesn't guarantee you're going to get to meet any of the artists. Most of the VIP passes, which we've done before at some of the rallies, doesn't even get you close, but not close enough that you could talk to them or even get a picture with them. So just
and you kind of got to watch too. And I didn't really like this one time when we were at an event at the rally, and the VIP was on the side. You were on the stage, but you were on the side, so you didn't have a front on view, which I didn't really care for. I would rather be right in front, looking up at them. But we did have seats, so I guess I can't complain.
Which a lot of the VIP gets you closer and you're still standing. Most of the concerts that are at most of these events do not have seating. Now, if you get there early, you can usually find something. Loud American's pretty good. They have quite a few tables and stuff that's out there that you can sit on. But once again, you got to get there early. Same thing with One Eye Jack's. They've got some tables and stuff you can sit at. But if you're looking at the Knuckle, they've got a few picnic tables around the outside. I think they've got a couple hundred seats is what they've told us before that they could sit out there. But when you go over to the Iron Horse, they really don't have any real seating out there for you. There's a few around some of the bars that are kind of far away, but if you want to be right up against the concert, the Buffalo Chip, the Full Throttle Saloon, both of those at this moment, we don't know about the Full Throttle Saloon. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes about that too. Don't necessarily have places to sit. Now, if you're at the Buffalo Chip, for instance, or Pappy Hoyle's, some of them will allow, if you're camping there, you can bring your motorcycle in, or you might be able to bring a golf cart in or something like that. The Buffalo Chip for sure allows that in most of the concerts, but some of them, they don't allow it. If you're handicapped, there's sometimes exceptions for the rule. If you've got a handicap pass that you can show them, get your vehicle certified when you first get to the campground, that might work for you. The other thing is, what does it cost? Mainly like what you just was saying, it's the Buffalo Chip, and now the Full Throttle Saloon is starting to charge for their concerts. And then people always say, hey, I want to see Marilyn Manson. What should I do? Well, if that's the only concert you want to see, you should have already bought your ticket the moment they announced it, because it's going to get more and more expensive as you go. Right now, I didn't look at the current prices, but they have gotten as high as about $140 to get in to see Kid Rock on that night. So that's your first problem. When you go to the Buffalo Chip, the other thing that you get is you're not really buying a ticket to see the concert. You're buying a camping pass for the day. So you can get there as early as you want. You can ride your bike into the campground. You can find a place inside the park versus trying to park out back and have to fight with everybody to get out. Sometimes you can even ride your bike in if you're early enough. So those are some advantages there. You could also stay all night. You could bring you a bedroll, bring you a small tent. You could throw it someplace out of somebody else's campsite, and you could stay all night and party all night. You won't have to worry about drinking and riding and things like that. So that's one nice thing. So that's one of the things you need to look at. Now, I believe Full Throttle is going to do the same thing. You can buy passes for 2 or 3 days. You can buy it for the week. You've got different options that you can buy. You need to kind of look at that and see. I always recommend, which is kind of late now, but you still can do it, is if you're a concert person and like to watch concerts, you should bought right away and bought the whole week. That way you can come and go as you please. You get a wristband for the whole week. If you decide you don't want to see this concert or whatever, you've got that option. Versus you might get to a concert, and if for instance, it's rained out, it's stormed out, the artist gets sick, there is no refunds on any of these tickets. They'll have somebody else up there singing. May not be who you paid for, but that's the way it goes. You can't always...
Because you're buying a camping pass, you're not buying a ticket for a concert.
Yeah. So now the other thing is Full Throttle Saloon now is going to, if they get it all done, they're going to concrete in all of their bridges that they have, and they're going to make them an amphitheater. We're not quite sure because we've heard Michael Ballard say a few things on Facebook. And we'll, like I say, when we get there on June 10th, that first week, we'll be reporting more on the Full Throttle Saloon to let you know what the heck is going on out there. But it looks like at this moment, when I start looking at his ticket prices, it looks like it's going to start at the second covering that he has out there. Looks like where it's going to start. Now, in the past, he always charged once you walked out of the saloon. That's where you had to pay the $10 or $20 to get in to do it. Now he's selling concert tickets. Looking like a Jackal, looked like the lowest I seen was about 100, or not 100, but was $29.95 for that area. If you wanted anything else, like for instance, they've got Disturbed. I think it's about $129 if last time I looked per person to get in, to get up close, to be in the not VIP, but to get in the front section right behind the VIP. So that's another thing that you have to think about is, do I want to do that? Now, I don't know with the Full Throttle Saloon, over the past, before the concerts came out, you were allowed to run the whole property. Don't know if that's going to happen this year. We will, once again, you need to stick with the channel and we'll be giving you that pertinent information to let you know. Go back to the Buffalo Chip. You've got free run of the property. You can go anywhere you want. If you want to go out to Bikini Beach, jump in the water because it's hotter than heck, like it's been 105 before.
Yes, it has.
Yes, and you could do that, and that because you've got a camping pass. You can do whatever you want. So it's pretty, that's what kind of makes it nice versus those two venues. Just something to think about. We're going to leave you with the very last question that everybody always asks. How much money do I need to bring to come to the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally? First of all, it just depends a lot on how much you want to spend.
That's right.
Because there is camping out in the federal land that you can actually stay for 14 days for free. You can stay as close as Deadwood. There's another campground that's right outside on the other side of Bear Butte on the left side that last year I looked, it was about $12 a night, no utilities. They had bathroom, I think there were just pit toilets, and they did have water that you could fill up your trailer and stuff with. And they had some little canopies and stuff, and it's not a bad area. You're right on the lake. Yeah. So that's reasonable. They also have another campground that's right down the street, which is across the street.
Drag pipes?
Yeah, drag pipes. I think he told me again he's only charged, I think he said it was $150 for the whole rally. Per person to stay at his campground there. And he's got a bar and he's got showers and stuff like that going on there. So there is some inexpensive places like that. Hotels, if you wanted to stay at a hotel reasonable at this late a time, you need to start looking either in Spearfish, which there's a whole bunch of them right there at that first exit, or go all the way over to Rapid City. We've gotten some good deals in Rapid City for around $100, $150 a night. But the sooner you book, the sooner you are. But if you're coming before, you can save money. The more earlier you come, we have stayed at some of the nice campgrounds, like the Sturgis RV Park before the rally, a week before the rally, and we've stayed there for as little as $20 for full hookups. So there's a lot of good opportunities out there if you're doing some shopping. So that's the first thing you have to do is figure out where you're going to stay and how much you're going to pay. You could go out during the rally and you're going to pay about $1,000 a night out in Deadwood. There you go. In town, it's about... You could see anything from about $300 a night up to $1,000 a night if you want to stay on Main Street, if any of that's even available anymore. There's a bunch of hotels. There's a Motel 6. There's a, what's all out there at that end of town?
There's not a Regency, Beaumont Inn. That's a very nice hotel.
Yep, that's a cool one. I highly recommend that one. I really like that. We've also got the other Sturgis. One's a Sturgis Motel, one's a Sturgis Hotel. Yeah. And
Hotel Sturgis and the Sturgis Hotel.
And one's on Junction and one's on Main Street. The one on Junction, I don't know if she's completely filled up yet or not. We haven't called anymore on what's available. It's hard to find anything in town at this moment, but you can always check. So that's your first thing. where do I want to stay? How much am I going to spend for my room? If I'm going to camp, if I'm going to do a tent, I've seen tent spots as low as $10 a night, up to about $25 to $40 a night, depending on if some of them offer you food, some of them's got hot showers for you, all kinds of stuff. If you're coming in town and you're like, well, I'm only going to stay in a tent and I'm going to stay somewhere else. I'm going to stay out the federal land. Where am I going to take a shower at? Well, in town at the Civic Center, which is right behind the Harley Davidson big display that they have where the demo bikes are at, you can buy a pass. I think last year was about $75, I think, for the whole week.
10 days.
You could take showers and all kinds of stuff that was going on. They used to have the gym open, but I don't think they do the gym anymore. Or you can buy it but daily. I think it was, I don't know. But they include the soap, the stuff.
Towels, everything.
Yeah, it's all included in your price. So there's an option if you want to do that. Used to be the high school did it too. I don't know if they're going to do it this year or not. They've, with the COVID and stuff over years, they've gone back and forth on the showers. They've always had a breakfast. There's a bunch of places for that. So there's some ideas there. What else am I going to spend for is food. You can't eat at McDonald's. You can eat at Dairy Queen. We have a Burger King in town. So all three of those have inexpensive meals that are less than $10. So there you go. Is there expensive places? Yes. A couple places that we highly recommend is one is Louis.
Uncle Louis Diner.
He doesn't raise his prices during the rally. Very reasonable for a big variety of food. He's on Main Street.
They give you big portions.
We also recommend the Pizza Ranch.
Pizza Ranch is good.
Yep, it's over there by Dairy Queen. It's over by all those hotels. They do not raise their price. What's nice?
Smorgasbord.
What's nice about their buffet is it includes your soft drink. That's included. It's just not pizza. They have chicken and mashed potatoes.
They got a salad bar, a little bit of dessert. So it's well worth the price.
Yeah, and it's under $20. I think it was like 18 something last year, 15 or 18. I don't remember.
If you're a senior and you go on Wednesdays, is it you buy one get one?
No, I think it's like $12 or $13.
No, it's cheaper.
And so there are just some options. And so that's one of the other things to do. One of the things you have to watch is some of the vendor trucks down on Main Street. They're not that cheap. Some of the bars aren't real cheap. Some people in the past have complained about One-Eye Jack's is awful expensive. It's like $25 plus for a hamburger and fries, plus you got to buy a drink. They also complain out there at the Full Throttle Saloon that they're really expensive to eat at. So you just got to be, it depends on what you want to do. Like I say, there is a lot of very inexpensive places. I'm one of these people, I don't like to spend much more than about $20 a meal. That's me. There is some great places. You can go out to Deadwood. There's some great steakhouses and stuff out there. You can go over to Spearfish. There's some places there to eat. There's just a whole lot of great places to eat. Rapid City, there's a bunch of buffets out there. Golden Corral's out there. They've got a bunch of the steakhouses and stuff out there.
Sturgis Brewing Company's a nice place to eat, and it's fairly reasonable. I'd say it was mediocre. Not real cheap, but not outrageously expensive either.
And the Knuckle, last year they were charging, their normal price for hamburger and fries is, and it's a good thick hamburger, it's about $15.95, but during the rally they are $18.95. So, but I mean, it wasn't a bad deal. So most of the time, most of the restaurants, and even at Loud American, they'll have the steak bites and stuff like that. And most of the time it's just under the $20 range. Right. So if you buy a soft drink, or hey, you could just have water, and save your money. So that's the other thing you want to think about.
And if you're really on a budget, there's a couple grocery stores in town. You can always get you a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter and have peanut butter sandwiches if you're really wanting to go but just don't have quite that much money. There's always an option too.
And the thing we try to do is eat one meal a day. We do something light in the morning, and then we get to where about 2 o'clock in the afternoon we have a big meal someplace, and then at night we have a snack before we head to bed, and that's all we do. Now, we're not drinking alcohol either. That's your next big expense. There is some places in Sturgis that have $3 and $4 beers. Okay, but there is places that have $5 and $8 beers. So you do have to do some little shopping around to see what's going on. Because some of the places, just like I said, the Full Throttle Saloon over at the One-Eye Jack's, in the past, which like I say, we don't drink, so we're not looking at prices. We're only going off what people say, that their drinks and food is very expensive there.
At the Vets Club down at the end of Main Street, their drinks are very reasonable. I don't believe
Uncle Louis always has beer on tap,
yes,
and wine. He's got a very reasonable price. He doesn't raise his price up. There's also a lot of other places along there. Actually, during the Buffalo Chip, between 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning till 5 at night, you can actually go inside the amphitheater and get dollar beers.
At Woody's watering hole, they
Yep.
call it, and at Dollar Beers, and I think Dollar Hot Dogs.
Yep. And I think they had Corona beer there last time, or Miller beer.
Coors.
They always have one brand in there. But hey, it's cheap beer. Get in there. You can have a few beers, and you might be good for the night.
Save some money.
Yeah. So there is places like that. Souvenirs, you just got to kind of look around. If you want to get you a T-shirt, the best place if you want to get a good T-shirt, not necessarily a rally T-shirt, is the Sturgis Harley Davidson dealer. They have that big tent there that's on LaSalle. When it opens up, they have some really, really good deals there. So that's one. A lot of the other T-shirt places you have to watch. There is a lot of cheap places out here that sometimes they even say the Sturgis Rally, and it'll say in Daytona, Florida, that they don't print them right. So make sure you look at whatever you're buying very carefully.
What I did when we were in Daytona, I went to Teddy Morris's outreach or outpost, and I thought, oh my gosh, I got these T-shirts for $10. It says Teddy Morris 2024, and I was all excited, and I went and showed him, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I got these T-shirts, and he's like, 2024, that was last year.
2025 now.
I was thinking I got a really good deal.
If you do hang around, the only time they give away shirts cheap is that last weekend. But once again, it's these vendors that are selling just the bulk T-shirts. They're not the highest of quality. When the last rally we were at Myrtle Beach, they had 3 for $40. Some will go 4 for $40, but you got to buy that many. You can't just buy one for $10 or one for $12.50. They're going to make you buy the whole lot of them. So, and if you want a special shirt, buy it now. I like to go out, which I shouldn't give out my secret, but I'll probably already have mine ahead. But see, I like to go out to Iron Mountain, and I like to stop there at the little gas station, restaurant, convenience store there right in the middle of the road, and I buy my shirt there. So that's kind of cool. Sometimes I'd rather buy a shirt. I don't need one that says the Sturgis Rally 2025. I just don't need that. But if you do, then you might spend. T-shirts can run you as much as $50 a T-shirt.
If you're really smart and you pretty much go every year, what I do sometimes is buy the last year's T-shirts. So this year in 2025, how about 2024? And you get them for a heck of a lot better price.
And then next year, by the 2025, you have it there. Unless you're only coming once. If you're only coming once, buy it. But I mean, look around and make sure you buy something decent. The Harley store, if you go out to Rapid City, that's the biggest Harley dealer you're going to find. During the rally, they've got over 100 vendors on their parking lot. Pretty much everybody is there to think about what you might want. There, they have some really class act shirts. They hold up really well. Most of the Harley shirts are made pretty well. Most of them come from China, but they are a pretty good quality shirt I've had on. I don't even know, does it have a year?
Sturgis, it's got Sturgis. No, it just says Sturgis, South Dakota.
But I mean, I've had this probably 3 or 4 years. And in this trip, I've worn it about 4 or 5 times in the last month. But so there is some good deals out there. The last thing I want to leave you with is if you're thinking about getting some work done on your motorcycle while you're there. One, you can contact us or you can watch some of our videos. We'll show you some great people. Just had somebody ask about handlebars today that watches our channel. It's all about customs, did mine. Is if you want something done like that, hey, I got a CVO and I want a fat tire kit put on it. Well, you got to call now to get the fender ordered for it because there's only one painter in the world that paints CVO for Harley Davidson, and that painter is painting for All About Customs. So you can contact them and you get a perfect match to your bike. But you got to get a hold of him, call them, he'll send you a sheet, fill it out, but you got to get it. He's got to get it ordered so it can get to Sturgis in time.
And
Make your wheel.
Have it for you when you get there.
Depending on whatever you want. You want an inner fairing. You might say, hey, I want to go to, the fairing exchange and I want to get an inner fairing. Well, you want to make sure. Like this year, they ran out of white ones at Myrtle Beach. They had the last 3 customers couldn't get it. But if you call ahead, put a deposit down on it, they'll hold it till even the last day before they leave. Yours is going to still be there. I always recommend getting all my work done within the first couple days I'm there because I like to make my appointments first thing in the morning when they open. And then I can get my bike in there, even at speeds where I'm having cam put in and oil pump and all this stuff work. By noon, they're done. Dynoing it and everything, it's ready to go. I can take it out now and ride the rest of the afternoon. So that's one of the things I like to do when I'm having work done on my bike. Contact the vendors. Get a date set up, get a time for you to get your stuff, get your parts ordered for what you need. And all the vendors that we deal with, they will give you the best information you can. If you call Speeds Up and you're thinking about getting a cam put in your bike, they're going to talk to you. They're going to make sure what you get is going to be the number one thing you need. All of our vendors that we put on our channel, we stand behind their work. If you ever have trouble with any of them, you contact us and we're happy to be a mediator between you to get a resolution set to where everybody's happy. So that's one of the things we want to do. So today we've given you about 5 or 6 good things to be thinking about if I'm going to Sturgis this year. And these are all things that we already pre-plan out. We already know what concerts we're going to go to. If we've got passes like here, we already have passes for the Buffalo Chip for the whole week. Because there's even if there's only 1 or 2 concerts, it's worth the money to have.
It'll pay off itself.
Now, if you want to go to their bike shows and go to the bar up front and the Wall of Death and the stunt shows and all that, 99% of that is all done at the top of the hill, which is all free to get into.
At the crossroads, they call it.
That's all free with the bikini bike washes, with the international bikini girls are at. That's all right up front. The garage is up there. The Indian dealer, they got an Indian mechanic there that works on Indian bikes and does a bunch of stuff. They also have another guy out there now that does work on Harley Davidson, sells tires and all that kind of stuff. So they've got all that on their property at the top, and it doesn't cost anything to get into that area. Just FYI. Same thing with the Full Throttle Saloon. Everything in the front and in the main building is free to go to. We'll give you one last tip today that a lot of people don't know about. The Full Throttle Saloon, Pappy Hoyle Campground, the swimming pool
is free
for anyone. Do not have to be, don't pay anything.
You don't have to have a wristband or a camping pass or anything to use the swimming pool.
And you'll see some videos from us being out there because that's where Twisted Tea's going to be.
That's right.
Billy's going to be out there doing some promos and stuff, and we're going to be out there giving away some free stuff with Billy, and so that's going to be really exciting, so be looking for us out there. And we'll give you a full schedule as we get closer for all the events and when those are going to be going on so you can come out, but that's just a little bit of something I wanted to tell you that most people don't know about. And we'll talk about all the different places. There's a bunch of places that have breakfast, a lot of charity places, the Vets Hall, some of the churches out in Hill City, the church of the Chamber of Commerce, somebody does a breakfast out there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. The veterans, VFW out there. Neil always talks about it if you watch our channel. They have a breakfast, they have a lunch, a dinner, they have a whole bunch of stuff going on out there. All that money is going back to a charity, which is kind of cool versus just going to a restaurant and spending your money. So something to kind of think about while you're out there. Last thing, which I keep telling you it's the last thing. What's the weather could be like?
It could rain, it could snow, it could sleet, it could hail, it could be 120, or not 120, 105. That's Arizona, 105, or it could be 35.
That's right.
So there you go. Become prepared. Definitely bring your rain suits. It will rain during the rally at some point in time at somewhere in the Black Hills. I'll guarantee you that. And so bring some clothes that I would dress in layers. I'd bring t-shirts and jackets. That way, if it's too hot, you can take the jacket off. If it gets chilly, you can put the jacket on. And the rain suit, there you go.
There you go. That's the last tip for the day. So with that, it's probably been a pretty long video today, but we wanted to get this out to you because we're starting our Sturgis series now. Because heck, what are we, just a few...
We're only probably about a week out of heading to Sturgis.
So when we made this video, we actually had 67 days, and this was on Monday, Memorial Day. And so depending on when you guys see it tomorrow, it'll be 66 days. And depending on when you watch it during this week, you could be right at just a little over 60 days before the Sturgis Rally officially starts. That's going on August 1st. If you're going the week before, you're going to have to drop off 5 to 7 more days off of that. And so that would put us down to about 58 days if you're watching this when we just put this on. So yes, it's going to be here before you know it. Is it completely sold out? No. Is it going to be like the 75th? No. Crowds aren't what they used to be. We won't know till we get there how crazy it's going to be. I suspect a few more people than we probably had last year. That's where I'll kind of leave it at. So with that, we're going to leave you right here. We're in wonderful, beautiful, rainy Wichita, Kansas.
How about that? It's been a rainy Memorial Day and cold. Every place we've gone has been cold.
Well, no, because Myrtle Beach broke a record and Leesburg broke a record.
Well, not when I was in Myrtle Beach. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with us today. Don't forget to support our sponsors. They're the ones that get us to all of these rallies. Don't forget to tell them Bob and Tam sent you if you go to visit them or just say hi to them or if you're interested in any of the things that they do. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We appreciate all you guys. We love all you guys. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications, and we'll see you on the next video.
Yep, we're down to about 6 days before we hit the road, pull the trailer up there to get to Sturgis. So we'll see all of you real soon. We have some more videos coming out between now and before we leave. We'll probably do a packing video to kind of show you what you ought to pack. If you're thinking about riding your bike, how you might want to do, might show you some tools. If you're going to do like I do, put the bikes in the trailer now and we stay in the RV because we're there so freaking long. People always say that, why do you drag your trailer? We're there for 8 weeks. Can you afford an apartment or a
hotel for 8 weeks?
Yeah, I can't. So we stay in a campground.
We take our house with us.
That's right, house on wheels. There you go. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.